Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Philip Towns.
Did I ever hope I would play piano for a living? Yeah, I mean, up until I started playing piano when I was 12. So it was after I got into it, and it was about a year after I kind of realized, like, okay, this is kind of what I wanted. Whatever this is, I want to do for the rest of my life. Once I like discovered music, yeah, it just kind of hit me as like really all I wanted to do. I can't really remember wanting to be something as a kid, like growing up until that point. Who influenced me growing up? It was almost strictly gospel music. So because my parents were really heavy in the church and had their own church, they they were pretty strict about only playing, like gospel music around the house and just on the radio whenever we're traveling and stuff. But to me, what influenced me the most in that world were the artists who were always like pushing the boundary of what that was. So there were artists who were like, the content of gospel music is clearly like it was like one thing. It doesn't get outside of a certain thing. You're always talking about spirituality in a sense, but musically that can kind of sound like anything. And so to me, the artists who influenced me most were those who push the boundary and like mix, rock and roll with gospel, would mix like reggae with gospel, would mix just all kinds of things, all kinds of sounds and influences with gospel music. That's how I found out about other musicians, was through these artists who were like, oh, well, I got this idea from a song from John Mayer. And I'm like, oh, who's John Mayer? And like, or I got this was like a Bob Marley influence, and we just put our gospel thing. Or this was like a, so like my musical vocabulary grew from just hearing certain gospel artists, them taking the leap and saying, okay, like I like this stuff. I'm just gonna make it palatable for my audience and for what I do inside of gospel music. As far as like Nashville and that whole thing, yeah, meeting Anderson. So I was in college. I went to college in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, um, which has a history it has some musical history there with Fame Studios and that whole wave of music that happened there in the 60s and 70s. So I ended up working at Fame Studios when I was in college. So I quit school, and in between time, I had like 6 or 7 months to basically on a lease on the place I was living. So I said I'll just hang around, and Fame Studios kept calling me to come do sessions and play keyboards and on songs and stuff like that. And so yeah, that picked up after I quit school, and then Anderson just happened to come down to do some recording at Fame and shoot like some video footage there. And so he was about to go on tour and need a keyboard player, and had been auditioning all kinds of people, and nothing was working out. And so after he left Fame, it was the last ditch effort. They called down to Fame and said, hey, like anybody, like can play keys, like young can play keys. And so the studio manager there at Fame gave him my number. Anderson's manager called me and was like, hey, you can come do this audition in a couple of days. I was like, yeah, well, actually I'm already up here. Yeah, it works out perfect. So yeah, I went and did the audition. Yeah, I got the gig, and I went on the road with him maybe like 2 weeks later. I didn't really decide that I wanted to start doing rap until probably, like, to be honest, maybe about 3 years ago. I actually was like, okay, I'm gonna actually do this. What influences me when I start a new song? Well, obviously things that I've been listening to, and just like musical objectives, I guess, that I want to accomplish. Always, like, when I'm listening to music, I'm like always analyzing it and trying to figure out why it works, or if I hear something that's cool, I'm trying to like understand it at the end of the day, I just love making music. So I'm just really grateful I get to do that every day.
Look at that, look at that, look at that. Cooking that, cooking that, cooking that. Sauce up, sauce up, sauce up. Sauce up, sauce up, sauce up. Look at that, look at that,